Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and good day. This is the Chapter 1 worksheet review, specifically for Period 3. Because of the Labor Day holiday, we're not going to be meeting together. This video will not remain long available. It will be pulled from YouTube in just a few days before the exam. So make sure that you get an opportunity to go through this. Normally we would review this using a discussion and so forth, but we can't do it this time. So let's look through the problems that we have. We're going to start with the general questions. And the first question, or the instructions, was people respond to incentives. Governments can alter incentives, and hence behavior with public policy. However, sometimes public policy generates unintended consequences by producing results that were not anticipated. Try to find an unintended consequence of each of the following public policies. Full sentences only will receive credit. And of course, everyone is going to have a different answer. Question number 1. To help the working poor, the government raises the minimum wage to $25 an hour. One possible outcome is that many people would want to work at $25 an hour, but few firms would want to hire low productivity workers at this wage. Therefore, it would simply create unemployment. This is actually the answer that I gave in class as an example last week. Question number 2. To help the homeless, the government places rent controls on apartments, restricting rent to $10 per month. Here's one possible answer. Many renters would want to rent an apartment at $10 a month, but few landlords could produce an apartment at this price. Therefore, this rent control would create more homelessness. Third question. To reduce the deficit and limit consumption of gasoline, the government raises the tax on gasoline by $2 per gallon. One unintended consequence might be that higher gas prices would reduce the miles driven. This would lower auto accidents, put less wear and tear on roads and cars, and reduce the demand for cars and road repairs. Of course, there's also the possibility of many businesses going under, especially those by the highway that need traffic. That's another one that I didn't put down, but you might have. The fourth question was, to reduce the consumption of drugs, the government makes drugs illegal. And this raises the price of drugs and makes selling them more profitable. And this creates more gang and more gang violence. Yes, imagine having to go to your pusher to get some tabs of aspirin. Ooh. Then we move on to the next set from the questions. Opportunity cost is what you give up to get an item. Since there is no such thing as a free lunch, unless you're one of my children, what would likely be given up to obtain each of the items listed below? So we might have Maya working full-time or going to college, and she chooses college. Then the unintended consequences is she gives up income from work and must pay tuition. Good luck, Maya. Meanwhile, Farmer Ivan Lee has 100 acres of land. He can plant corn, which yields 100 bushels per acre, or he can plant beans, which yield 40 bushels per acre. He chooses to plant corn. What he gives up is 4,000 bushels of beans. And I hope you were that specific, because that's the sort of thing we're looking at. Don't just say, oh, he gives up beans. Well, we need specific numbers. For part 2 were short answer questions, where you're asked to take the time not just to answer the question, but to explain why the answer you chose is the best one. Some questions don't have a definitive answer, and it is up to you to prove your case. Full sentences only will receive credit. Number 7 is air scarce? Is clean air scarce? And one possibility is for air, no, you don't have to give up anything to get it, right? I mean, the air is there. But clean air, you can't have as much as you want without giving up something in order to get it. That is to say, you must give out the pollution given out by cars or production of certain goods that pollute the air, but it might be necessary for them. Heck, you might even have to give up warmth if, for example, the chimneys are spewing out a lot of bad air. Right now, with the fires and the ash falling down, which I can see from my window, my gosh, the air is really terrible. Question number 8. What is the opportunity cost of saving some of your paycheck? And the opportunity cost would be items you could have enjoyed if you had spent it. That is to say, current consumption. I save, $500 out of my paycheck. Well, that's like 10 video games I could have. Question number 9. Why is there a trade-off between equity and efficiency? And I hope that you had bothered to look to see the difference in it. And taxes and welfare make us more equal but reduce incentives for hard work, lowering total output. Now, of course, this is based on the principles of Dr. Mankiw. There are many people, if you read the rebuttal that I had sent with the review of your homework, there are many folks who believe this incentive thing doesn't quite really work. Many liberals say that, no, there's no such thing as incentive in that way. Many of you didn't even agree with that principle. But that's besides the point. We're learning the material in the textbook. Question number 10. Water is necessary for life. Diamonds are not. Is the marginal benefits of an additional glass of water greater or lesser than the additional 1 carat diamond, and why? And one possible answer is the marginal benefit of another glass of water is generally lower because we have so much water that 1 glass is of little value. The opposite is true of diamonds. And of course, we're talking about anything bigger than 1 carat. But water is pretty out there. Almost done. Number 11. Your car needs to be repaired. You have already paid $500 to have the transmission fixed, but it still doesn't work properly. You can sell your car as is for $2,000. If your car is fixed, you can sell it for $2,500. Your car can be fixed with a guarantee for another $300. Should you repair your car, and why? And as I made a mention before, this is very much like some of the questions you might have later on in our studies this semester. A little bit of math, but it should have been pretty darn easy for you guys. Yes, you should, because the marginal benefit of fixing the car is $2,500. 2,000 and equal 500, and the marginal cost is $300. The original car payment is not relevant. And I believe this is the last one. Why do you think airbags have reduced deaths from auto crashes less than we had hoped? And one answer is the cost of an accident is lowered. This changes incentives, so people drive faster and have more accidents. I don't know if this is true in more recent times, but it makes sense in a clearly practical way. And ladies and gentlemen, that's it for the review. Pretty quick, less than 9 minutes, and I shall see you this coming Thursday for the exam. Be safe, be healthy, and keep cool. Bye now.